The town board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clavin.
Here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Here.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, you know what? Can we also please stand one more moment for Pat Zagarino? Pat served on the town board with honor for a very long time, and he recently passed. We just give a moment of silence to Pat. Thank you all very, very much. Yeah, absolutely. So, before we start today's meeting, we're going to have a little ceremony because we have somebody very, very special here we want to recognize. You ready, Angelina? Yeah? You set? I'm going to come down and we're going to talk that way. All right? Okay, can I borrow your mic for a second? Yes. Thanks. We usually do a stuffy program. We're going to do it a little bit differently. Angelina, come here. You don't think so?
Jump over.
Can you jump over? How was this? Don't be a show-off, all right? You're a show-off, all right? You know what? And I mean this. Heroes come every age, young and old, all different sizes, tall and big. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we are truly standing next to a hero. This young lady who's now 11, so that means which grade are you in? You're in 6th grade, all right? She did an amazing, heroic thing. During a terrible auto accident that I know of all too well because I know exactly where it took place. Where did it take place?
Garden Street.
In Garden City. And there was an auto accident, right? All right. You don't seem too shy. You feeling all right? Hold this for a second. Why don't you tell us? Why don't you tell everybody exactly what you did, all right?
So when it flipped over, Matthew, my brother, was hanging, and I unbuckled him from the seat, and I got him out safely.
And no. Listen. Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing a politician with 30 years coming down the road. That's not quite all you did, isn't it? Weren't there other people involved in the auto accident? Who else was in the car at the time of the auto accident?
Mom and Dad.
Your mom and dad, and they were really hurt, right? And you kept your cool and you kept your composure, right? And I've heard a story, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Did you actually call your grandmother? Is that true? Oh, come on, you got to tell everybody what you did.
So after we got out, I called my grandma, and then in the ambulance, I told all of them what the information of my parents' names and birthdays, and yeah.
All right, you did a great job. Now, you're doing awesome, all right? Why don't you tell us who's here with you tonight?
My family.
Who's here? Is that your dad?
My parents, my brothers, and my grandparents.
Oh, that's great. So why don't we congratulate you, everybody, on the amazing job you did rescuing everybody in a really terrible auto accident, folks. I'm telling you right now, it was terrible. Congratulations to our youngest hero. I would think this is scripted. You did this so well. We'd like to present you with a citation. Would you be nice enough to take a photo with all my friends on the town board so we can recognize you on being a hero in the town of Hempstead? Are you okay with that? All right. And after we're done, do you think so? Why don't you tell them after we're done with the one photo, what do you want?
To my family to come up.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. All right. So let's hear it one more time for our youngest hero in the town of Hempstead, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody shift a little bit. You did amazing, all right? All right, ready? Here we go. Next time. Look right here. Another one. Good. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. Have a mom, dad, and your brother. Come on. Come on. You're going to go right here. You're going to go right there. Mom and dad are going to come right behind you. Be very proud.
Okay, we get folks on three. 1, 2, 3. Another one. On this angle, and stay right there for.
Let's all hear for our hero one more.
Oh, he had to. Last thing he's got left on the deck.
All right, you did a great job.
Commissioner?
She should be an emergency responder.
She was awesome. She did an amazing job. Take care. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Oh, you had half a Garden City here.
Now, just to indulge everybody, because you were nice enough for everything, I didn't want to get into it. This was a horrific accident. Her dad lost 3 pints of blood at the accident and was rushed up there. The girl did a great job. So I really appreciate you all doing that. That she did an amazing job, and having all you here and giving her all that support. We thank you because it really mattered to her, and she did an amazing job. So thank all of you for giving that young lady all that support. With that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the first public hearing?
Much more plebeian, but the business goes on, right? Proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking near Valley Stream.
Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I do not have any slips that I see of right now, but does anybody wish to be heard on item number 1 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second that motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Roosevelt.
All right, any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on item number 2. Anybody wishes to be heard that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and adopt the motion.
I second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Belmore.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? Have any slips on item number 3? Anybody who did not sign in wishes to be heard on item number 3? If not, may I please have a motion?
Move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
That's an aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding prohibition of left turns in North Valley Stream.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on this item. Number 4, anybody wish to be heard that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second that motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have an item adopting the town of Hempstead public parking field maps showing parking regulations at certain parking fields in Belmore.
Anybody on the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in on this item? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Second the motion.
That's an aye.
That's an aye.
Councilwoman Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Elmont, Oceanside, Seaford, and Wantagh.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have an item on number 6. Anybody signed in? Anybody wish to be heard on item number 6? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a public hearing to review the recommendation of the Town of Hempstead Landmarks Preservation Commission that the Victorian gazebo in Rath Park, located at 849 Fenworth Boulevard in Franklin Square, be designated a historical landmark.
Okay. I do have a number of slips on this, so if I say name incorrectly, I apologize because I really am not good at that. Rosemary Bradshaw. Did you want to be heard? Nope, if you do, you have to go to the back mic and just give us your name and address. You go right to that mic right back there. Nope. That's Felix's camera. He'll don't worry. Felix will get you later on, but we'll take you right there. Your name and address?
My name is Rosemary Bradshaw,
Okay.
177 Fendale Street in Franklin Square.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I just want to understand what this is all about. They want to make it a historical landmark so it cannot be moved or destroyed? Is that what it is?
Mr. Town Attorney?
That is correct.
That is correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then I vote for that. I agree with that.
Okay, last year, and the Historical Society, a couple of members here, I believe we redid the roof on the gazebo last year. And, we have a great relationship with the Historical Society, so that was the presentation to preserve it. It's a nice part there with the museum next door. So I'm glad you're in favor of that. Okay? Thank you very much. Next, I have Caroline Ciampa. Okay, okay. Next, I have, Paul Van Wee. Hey, Paul. All right, how's it going?
Just a few words about the Victorian gazebo, Rath Park. The 200th anniversary of American independence in 1976 was a momentous occasion which was celebrated with great enthusiasm in the town of Hempstead. In Franklin Square, the Ben Franklin Bicentennial Committee coordinated a 2-year-long observance which involved the citizens of the community, the culmination of which was a village fair at Rath Park on July 2nd and 3rd, 1976. The fair raised over $12,000, and the committee proposed to construct a Victorian gazebo at Rath Park with the proceeds. The proposed landmark was constructed in April 1978 with local people contributing their labor. In May 1978, the structure was deeded to the town. Since 1978, the Victorian gazebo has been the scene of wedding and graduation photographs, concerts, patriotic observances, fall fests, winter fests, and picnics. It is truly an iconic local landmark. In 2023, the town of Hempstead lovingly restored the wood-shingled roof, installed a weather vane donated by the Historical Society, and the gazebo looks as good as new. Thank you, Supervisor Clavin. Thank you, Parks Commissioner Zangler. And thank you, honorable members of the town board, for your concern for this landmark. The Landmarks Preservation Commission unanimously endorsed this structure for landmark status as we look forward to the 250th anniversary of our country's independence in 2 years. Thank you.
Paul, thank you very much for your passion and your advocacy on all these projects. And to the members of the Historical Society, we were delighted last year the roof was done in a way to preserve the look of that. And the donation of the weather vane on top was wonderful. So for all of it, you do a great job, and I know you're compensated handsomely for the great job you do here. In fact, you get a raise. You go from 0 to 0. So good job there, Paul. But I mean it sincerely. you're passionate for and you do a great job, and we're very grateful. So thank you very much for all you do. Next, I have Ellen. Interesting. Ellen, you here? You're not? No, you taking? Okay. Carol Grassi? Okay. Now, that's all I have for speakers on item number 7. Is there anybody else on the town board that wishes to be heard on this item? Tommy? You're good? It's not like you. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to be heard on item number 7 that didn't sign in? Okay, then can I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Congratulations, and I do want to say the gazebo is a focal point, not only from, the readings of the Declaration of Independence, but to the beautiful 9/11 ceremony the fire department does there, to the fair that we look forward to stopping in. So to all of you who advocated on this, and to you, Paul, I know you take a lot of pride, as you should. Like I said, you've done a lot to preserve the history of the town of Hempstead, in particular Franklin Square. We have a debt that we owe you, and we thank you very much. So congratulations to you and everybody. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a public hearing to review the recommendation of the Town of Hempstead Landmarks Preservation Commission that the Tarman House, located at 474 Ocean Avenue in Lynbrook, be designated a historical landmark.
Okay, we have a number of slips here. And Paul, I'm going to start with you this time, since we'll just get you right at it, because I know you. You're amazing at this.
Honorable members, the Tarman House is an exceptionally well-preserved example of an early 19th century home, which includes related outbuildings and even an original well. It has been lovingly preserved by the Tarman family, who has lived there for over half a century. The Tarman House has been a silent witness to over 2 centuries of our town's history, dating back to the days when Ocean Avenue was a country road paved with oyster shells. The Town of Hempstead Landmarks Preservation Commission unanimously endorsed the Tarman House for landmark status, with the encouragement and cooperation of the property owners, and of course, the enthusiasm and expertise of the Lynbrook East Rockaway Historical Society. The building has already been placed on the National Register of Historic Places and is in every way highly appropriate for inclusion on our town landmarks list. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. I don't think residents would really like us putting the shells down on the roads anymore, but we'll keep moving on here. Next, I said a number of speakers in this one. We'll start with Frank Torrey. Good evening. Please give me name and address for the record.
My name is Frank Torrey, 2 Edwin Court, East Rockaway, New York, 11518. All right. Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you on this very important issue. My name is Frank Torrey, and I'm the president of the Historical Society of East Rockaway and Lynbrook, as well as an applicant on the matter before you. For as long as I can remember, I've been infatuated with the history around me, so you could imagine how important it is to me that we preserve as much of that history as possible. Having grown up in East Rockaway, a village with a vibrant history which dates back 335 years, you can imagine how many historic structures I've seen fall in the name of progress. This is why myself and my fellow applicants stand before you tonight to implore you to preserve this small piece of history so future generations can take the 214-year leap back to witness for themselves how life might have been like for the people of Hempstead Town. 214 years. That's older. The older estimates place the building date around 1810. To put that into perspective, that's only about a decade after the death of our nation's first president, George Washington. Only if those walls could talk. Speaking of talk, I could probably sit here all night and tell you guys about the history of this beautiful home, but I think I only have 3 minutes. So look,
that you do,
guys. They're gonna kick me out. But in closing, I'd like to thank you for lending your ear. I'd like to thank the Landmarks Commission and Dr. Van Wy for their recommendation. And most of all, I'd like to thank my co-applicants, the Tarmans, for their hard work and dedication in spending all this time preserving this history for the next generation. Thank you.
And thank you for your advocacy. Last year, I think we were down there for, I know Kate was with me, and I think Laura was, for the marker on the house, and we had a really fascinating tour of that house in East Rockaway. Yeah, and it was amazing, how well it was preserved. So we appreciate the great work you're doing on this, and if we can team up on these it's important. It really is. And with everything that's taking place, with things being knocked down, these opportunities to team up with residents who want to preserve it, we embrace that. So thank you very much for your passion. McGill Deterrent. You got it? Okay.
Many years ago, when it was a historical landmark, a lot was done. And Bob Simpson and Madeline Pearson and Mr. Frank Torrey have worked very hard, and we really appreciate it.
Okay.
We've been living there for 58 years and worked to preserve it, and I appreciate the landmark status.
Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you very much for coming again. I don't have any other slips on this item. Is there anybody else that wishes to be heard that did not sign in on this? Sure. If you just go to that back mic there, give your name and address, that'd be great. No, Ms. Tarman gets special treatment. You have to go back there, okay? So Ms. Tarman kind of thought of my mom, and she'd yell at me if I made her get up. So I'm gonna let her slide on that one. Just give your name and address. Thank you.
Joshua Soren. I'm also one of the Landmarks Commissioners for 23 years now. And when this house came up before us as a potential landmark, it was unanimous amongst our board to vote it in and recommend it as a town landmark.
Great. And thank you for your advocacy, and thank you for being on the board. Like I said, it's a labor of love. It really is. The board, the whole committee does a great job. So thank you very much. So with that, any member of the board who should be heard?
I'd like to say a few words, please. Mr. and Mrs. Tarman, I'm Laura Ryder, and I've resided in Limbrook my entire life. I live on the north side of town, you're on the south side of town, but I have the joyous occasion to drive by your house, your beautiful, beautiful home, several times a week. It is pristinely maintained. I truly believe it's the most beautiful house in Limbrook, and I commend you for maintaining it and preserving it as beautifully as you have. So thank you. Thank you.
So with that, may I please have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that the public hearing be closed and that the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Greenie.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
And congratulations to you, and thank you again to the committee. Well done. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have an application of Bayview Inwood LLC for an amendment and change of the building zone ordinance of the town of Hempstead, including the building zone map thereof, so that it's located at number, doesn't say, Bayview Avenue, and shall be reclassified from Residence B District to Light Manufacturing LM District pursuant to Section 273 of Article 28 of the Building Zone Ordinance of the Town of Hempstead to permit a vehicle storage lot for the storage of dump trucks and associated site work at the premises in Inwood.
Okay, and I know that Mr. Schlesinger is here to start the presentations. Good evening, Counselor. If you just give your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Supervisor Clavin, members of the board. This is a piece of land that sits across from a big trucking thing, backs up on the Salt Dome, and it's intended for parking of dump trucks. There is no residence within 50 or 60 feet.
But people have the opportunity to speak when we sign you in, so go on.
Anyway, we have us, Danielle's here with the site plan if the board wants to see it.
Okay.
You want to?
Absolutely, Danielle, if you identify yourself and we have the site map, she wants to talk about briefly on the sizes, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
And we can answer any questions the board has.
Okay. All right. With that, does any member of the board have a question right now? Okay, we have a number of residents who are signed in. We'll hear from them and I'll let you respond to the questions. Oh, Councilwoman?
Was there a public comment? Did you ask the neighbors or whoever is around this building? Was there public notification and time for response, or?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
And did you hear from neighbors?
We have heard no opposition whatsoever.
Like I said, a number of residents are here tonight, have asked to speak, so obviously we'll hear what they have to say. Is there anything you want to add to the presentation right now, or you want to let the public be heard and then respond?
I mean, the property is surrounded by industrial uses.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Councilwoman, anything else you want to add? Councilwoman Miller? Anything right now?
I'd like to see the site plan, because it looks like there's residential properties right around it, so maybe I can see differently on the.
Yeah, Mr. Schlesinger, your
residence adjacent to the property is actually the office for the trucking parking lot next to us. Or that's what it's used for.
Well, we need to see it. That's what I think she's saying.
Does your assistant have a site plan to present so residents can see it a little bit clearer there? There we go. Madam Clerk, Kate, thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, I leave. Hi, Danielle Drake. I live at 3 Pequot, Fort Washington. I'm representing H2M, who put together the site plan that you guys have in front of you. So the lot is about a half-acre lot. It's zoned currently as residential. Change the zoning. As Steve said, the site will be used to park dump trucks on the site. It'll be a paved lot with a landscape buffer around the residential. It's approximately 14,000 square feet of pavement that'll be on site. And approximately 29 vehicles can be parked within the paved area.
So the front of it, I'm going to take it, is on Bayview Avenue, fair?
Yes.
Okay, and then you have on the, I guess it would be the west side, is it Cherry, or is it on the east side?
Cherry is on the west side.
West side, okay. Now, the parcel of land you're talking about in relation to that corner of Cherry and Bayview is located on the front side, or you tell me for the indication on this, where would that parcel of property be located in relation to the front of it as it exists right now?
So right now the property is vacant land. It's just a grassed area.
Yep, but that's the one facing Bayview, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. On the other side of Bayview Avenue, what's on the other side? Is that commercial or residential?
It's a commercial.
Okay. And on the other side of Cherry, is that residential or commercial?
That is residential on the west side of Cherry.
West side of Cherry, okay. And as I'm going down the property, yep, okay, that's it. Yep. Oh, no, we're gonna go with it. So I see that you have Bayview, Cherry, you have residential, then you have your lot, and then you have a realty, there's a business there before the corner of Craft, is that correct? That would be on the east side.
Correct.
As I'm looking at, okay.
Yes, that's owned light manufacturing.
But immediately west of the lot, what's abutting that? Is there residential between that realty where it says Martinez Residential? Is that residential lot of land right there?
Correct.
That is, and how many residential properties are where from where, abutting it next door to to Craft Avenue?
I believe it's only the one.
The only one, okay. And then on the other side of it, you have the Town of Hempstead Community Services, Parks, and then there's a lot by Nassau County. Is that correct?
Correct, I believe so. You have the
So
zoning.
over here I have vacant, and that's it.
So the only residential is.
Is that one over there? Okay.
The
Yep,
Martinez.
okay, all right. All right, and just for clarification, you're asking for this with the concept, if it were ever to be granted, what would it be utilized for?
The parking of commercial vehicles.
Okay, all right. Okay, are there any other questions of the board right now? As I said, we have a number of residents who asked to be heard. Let us bring them up, let us go through what they're gonna do, and then we'll, Counselor and the team will come back to you in a moment, okay? Okay, thank you. So, Daniel Drake? That was, yep.
Correct, yes.
Alyssa Heiken? Hi, Ms. Heiken? Hi, Miss. Are you Ms. Heiken?
You want me?
Is she, Counselor, is Ms. Heiken with you or not with you?
I think we've made the presentation.
Okay, that's fine. Barry DeBrute? Mrs. Heiken, would you like to be heard?
Hi, my name is Elisa Hinken. Al Hinken, Barry DeGroot, and George Siberi asked me to speak on their behalf. Regarding this application, there's a few problems.
Okay.
Besides Superstorm Sandy decimating the area, it is prone to tidal flooding, whether the moon tides with or without a storm. So if most parking lots put in a drainage system, and we know from history that these check valves do not work, unfortunately. So the water will back up and flood in an area that has previously absorbed the water because it's all green. The gentleman used it for gardening previously, and he maintained it beautifully. They'll have to hook up to a sewer system, and again, like I said, check valves don't work. It's been proven. Now, it is a industrial area where tractor trailers have to park on one side for blocks and they have to walk to the office to drop off their paperwork. There's insufficient backing up for these trucks to go into the parking area, the loading docks. They're blocking traffic both ways. So this is only going to exacerbate the problem that already stands. Yes, there are plenty of houses left, and this is really going to defeat the purpose of resiliency. It's only going to add to more problems with traffic and with drainage issues. And I think that's it.
Okay, all right. I thank you very much for coming this evening, all right? We had a number of the residents, we're going to call them all. Albert Hinken? Albert, if you come back to the mic, give your name and address. Thank you.
We just got to run this way.
Good evening, Mr. Hinkin. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Albert Hinkin, 15 Bruffins Road, Inwood.
Yes, sir.
What do you want from?
Whatever if you have a position or opinion on this.
I agree that it would be a problem there. It's already overloaded. There's too much junk back there already. I was born in that house right over there, 1945, and I've seen big changes, and it's not good.
Okay. All right. So you have the same concerns as our previous speaker on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Next, I have Barry DeBrute. Barry, if you come back to the mic and give your name and address. You get one shot, Barry. I can't come back to you after. You get to go now or never. What do you want to do? Okay. That's all right. Amira Gomez? Hi, good evening. If you give me name and address for the record, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amira Gomes, and I'm at 515 Bayview Avenue. So I'm the house that's literally across from that lot.
When you same side of the street or across the street?
Same side of the street,
Got it.
but on the opposite of Cherry.
Got it.
On Bayview.
Got it.
That's where the children's bus stops are. Literally, my 4 kids, that's where they get picked up. My youngest son has a speech disability. He gets an IEP with the District of Lawrence. Because of these 18-wheelers that are blocking up the whole entire street, we have to literally walk our son down the street just to put him on the bus, which defeats the purpose of why we're getting the IEP anyways. We bought the house thinking to give our kids a better future as far as a better school district. Now we're in a mess whereby we have trucks blocking us, and now we're going to be having dump trucks literally feet away from our home. The value of our home is depreciating because of what's happening in our neighborhood. In addition to our quality of life, I mean, we made a decision to buy a house in Inwood thinking it's to benefit our future, but in actuality, it's becoming the opposite effect, and it's just being bombarded with commercial space. I mean, the question that it bears to mind at all times is, how would you like a dump storage site within 20 feet of your home? The smell is going to be there in the summer months. When the water comes, we flood, mosquitoes, now you have dump trucks within 20 feet. That's not something you want for your growing family. So I oppose it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Next, I have Abdul Kilfi. Hi, good evening. Just give your name and address to the record.
Good evening. Abdul Kafi, 286 Bayview Avenue. My children go to the park that's right down the block. As has been stated already, there's a number of commercial vehicles. Adding dump trucks and another commercial space like that is just waiting for an accident to happen. You have children riding their bikes, walking down the street. You know, it's just a matter of time before one of these trucks, maybe dump trucks, maybe commercial trucks, runs into somebody's child. I wouldn't want that to be my child.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now, I don't have any other slips on item number 9 from anybody. Is there anybody else who wants to be heard that did not sign in for this one? Okay. Mr. Schlesinger, then, you've heard a couple of concerns in particular. The first speaker spoke about, adding sewers and check valves. Is there going to be any of that put on this site?
We've provided dry wells to absorb all of the water. Our engineers have specified that they be sufficient to contain the water on the property, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
As to the rest of the concerns, this is an industrial area. Across the street is, I believe, 5 Star, which runs tractor trailers, and they're the largest tractor trailer operation serving JFK. Behind us is the salt stockpile for the town. There's no other rational use for a property like this other than industrial. And you're talking about trucks that come once a day in and once a day out. and that's it. It's not like across the street where there are constant deliveries into their warehouse and the loading docks. This is vacate the property, put the trucks on the road in the morning, reclaim them at night.
Obviously, they've, and I understand what you're saying in relation to the trucking company on the other side. But when it comes to the residents, in particular about the school bus issue of getting their small child onto the bus, are those vehicles associated with you, or are those more of the shipping company across the street doing that, if you know?
As far as I know, they're the largest truck operator on that block.
Okay.
And they dwarf what we intend to do by an enormous magnitude.
All right, thank you. I know apparently if you've come to the back, Mike can give you a name and address, that'd be great.
He has to step aside.
Hi, good evening. Name and address, thank you.
Hi, good evening. Megan Milligan, 577 Bayview Avenue. So I heard the proposal in the beginning, and I heard that they had asked the residents around there of their opinions. Myself and my father-in-law were never asked. We own the home. And, like the person said in the beginning, it's a residential area. It's not a commercial. It's been taken over by commercial areas. We have in the front of the block, we have an ambulance company, a car wash. Now they opened up a detail thing. Now they're going to bring a dump truck. I mean, come on. I don't have children with the bus things, but I do know them. We all have animals. We walk around that area. I would just like for it to stay residential, and I oppose.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard that did not sign out on this item? Okay, Mr. Schlesinger, and, please, sir, come on, if you go to the mic there and give your name and address, thank you. All righty. No worries.
James Milligan,
Hey, Mr. Milligan.
7 Bayview Avenue. First of all, where he proposed to put the dump trucks, it is the beginning of Bayview, and it congests traffic. And the thing is, they also never asked anybody. They just proposed this, and they expect it to be done. All we asking for, if you can deny this, I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Thank you for coming up here tonight, and thank you for speaking. That's about. Anybody else wish to be heard? Any other remarks, Mrs. Schlesinger, or anything you want to add to the presentation?
I don't believe we have anything to add.
Okay, all right. With that, then, I'm going to ask if there's a motion of the board.
Yeah, I'm going to move that the public hearing be closed, but I'm going to ask the board to please reserve decision on this item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Mr. Schlesinger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together, or ask the staff to technically put together the names of the individuals that came here to speak who are in the area. And maybe you or one of the representatives could take the time to communicate with them, and then we'll follow up with the residents after. Obviously, there's been a disconnect on them feeling that they've been included in the process, and that's very important to us. But you know what? Maybe a discussion will help, but we'll see. But I would appreciate if you could follow up with the residents who took the time, who came here tonight. But thank you very much.
I would like to say, Councilwoman, you asked for them to be able to show you the letters that he had sent to the residents, letting them know about what was going on.
I feel, as we always do, that it's very, very important before, especially as a change in zoning occurs, that full disclosure, that everybody that lives around there has been notified, has been given the opportunity to have, whatever their say is, whether they agree, whether they disagree. We can make an informed decision, but I don't feel that we can do that yet because they feel they have not been heard. They are saying they have not received that communication.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with her 100%, because I'm listening to them and they're talking about the things that are there now that weren't there when they purchased their homes. I don't think that's proper. And you should make sure that you speak to them. You can have a meeting with them so they can come and sit down so you can really listen to what they're saying. That's very, very important.
All right, and we appreciate it, but like I said, I'll get you the names and addresses of all the residents who took part, and we'll get that to you, and I know that your team will follow up with them, and then we'll do a follow-up with everybody, all right?
That's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Lester. I want to thank the residents that came out, and as I said, I'm going to take all of your contact information and get it to the attorney so you can have a conversation, and we'll keep you informed. But if you didn't know, the town board did not make a decision. We simply reserved decision, which means we haven't made a decision on anything we're doing yet. All right, and we appreciate you coming down. I am going to ask that one of Councilwoman Miller's staff just grab your name and number about that bus issue. That's a little personal to me. That you shouldn't have to walk everybody down the block. The bus has to come pick up, and if there has to be a little extra enforcement, we can call our friends from the police department. They get to write some tickets and generate some revenue down there. Give you a helping hand. We'll follow up with you if that's okay.
I will say, Supervisor, that this is not a new problem. The trucking, the blocking the road. Mr. DeGroot and I have worked on this extensively, as you know. It's an issue that requires enforcement, and so the concerns are certainly valid.
Thank you very much for coming out this evening. We'll follow up with that. Thank you.
Board for their time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a public hearing for reopening and continuation of the public hearing pursuant to New York Eminent Domain Procedure Law, Article 2, regarding 434 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead.
Mr. Town Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I believe Councilman Muscarella has a motion.
Okay.
Supervisor, I move the adjourn the public hearing into the administration calendar this evening.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Okay.
Supervisor Clavin.
Okay, just so you know, his motion is to just adjourn this hearing until after we pass through the administrative calendar. So the hearing will still be on tonight, but it will just be after the administrative calendar. Is that correct, Councilman?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I get a second on that?
I second.
No.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
Yes, on the administrative calendar this evening, we have items 11 through 67.
Okay, and member of the board wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? All right. Not yet. I do have a sign in here. I have Ms. Meriday. Good evening. If you give me name and address for the record, thank you.
Good evening, Meeta J. Meriday. It's a little difficult for someone back here with, particularly myself, with spinal back issues to stand here without a podium. I also want to continue with my concern that I'm standing in the back of a room. With all of this about COVID, we're really beyond that at this point, so it would be nice if we could go back to where residents who, particularly like myself, have issues standing, we'd be able to sit, maybe lay out our papers as well to make a valid presentation before the body that we pay the taxes to. Having said that, items 13, 14, 18, and 41, I question regarding what the inclusion is with these ongoing contracts. Some of these names are familiar. What are we doing with regard to including veterans, women, minorities, and those with disabilities in these contracts that would help others to afford to live in the town of Hempstead? Number 25, explain the scope of the work, who's benefiting from it, and who is still being left out in terms of that contract. Number 32, what parkland in Freeport is this being transferred to?
Ms. Meriday, let's go at it. Your first one's all the bidding is in compliance with New York State rules and regulations are open bidding, and anybody can do it. So that's in compliance. As a relation to 25 with the Department of Housing and Development, if you want to come up and address it, what was your question again on that?
Explain the scope of work and who's benefiting. And relating to the items previously, you can be in compliance in one hand, but without the actual breakdown, how many veteran businesses are being included? How many minority businesses are being
always
included?
done it, and
What is the outreach for these businesses?
Ms. Meriday, we follow all state regulations and rules.
And you still have the same people working in those same positions.
But that's-
Usually they're patrons or high-end donors. I'll wait for the
Meredith,
answers to my
Ms.
other
Meredith,
questions. The
that's
record stays
obviously-
the same.
No, Ms. Meredith, listen.
I'll wait for the audit from New York State's Attorney General and the Controller's Office because,
okay.
again, you're breaking rules and breaking the law, but it's not up for me to determine that. I'll leave that to those who are in higher
You're making an accusation.
Can I
based
have
on
the
some-
answer to the question, please?
No, Ms. Meredith, you don't get to dictate. And when you make an accusation which is based on falsities, we have to address it. So your falsity.
Well, wait till they finish their investigation.
What investigation?
Is New York State not auditing the town of Hempstead? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you're factually wrong. Brian,
I'm not,
if you,
but go
no, you are. If you'd like to address what that project is, thank you.
Good evening, Supervisor and members of the board. Item number 25 is in regards to Nassau County made more additional funding available for the year. Members of our department sought out and achieved receiving $800,000 for a new ball field in Elmont Park in Elmont.
Great, fantastic.
32, Parkland.
That's regarding the land, I believe, town attorney down in Freeport that we voted on almost a year and a half ago. Explain that one, please.
Well, about a year and a half ago, the town board and the Village of Freeport agreed that the Village of Freeport would take over the marina, and they've requested state legislation, which we are supporting, in order for that park to be transferred to Village of Freeport.
Great, thank you. 39 and 40, ARP funding. Again, that's not going to the designated requirements as per the ARP rule or the CARES Act. What is it going to? Another rainy day fund that possibly also needs possible investigation?
Yeah. I believe this is the money that, Mr. Controller, if I'm not mistaken, this is a reimbursement that came back on expenses that weren't completed by the CARES funding, and it's been sent back to the town, and now you're putting it over to the proper fund, as is been the review by the federal government that has found us in compliance with all rules and regulations and spending of CARES money. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
I do appreciate you letting everybody know that once again. Some people like to make an accusation, and they're just not true.
We'll see how that goes. 58,
No, you don't have to see how it goes. It's done.
58, 59.
What about them?
What's the total amount for the settlements for 2023, and where are we in 2029? If we're in such compliance, why do we get sued so much and have to pay out to the extent of what? $800,000 that has to be bonded, but we're in compliance with everything that we're doing in the town of Hempstead, are we not?
Ms. Meredith, 58 involves a car accident in which we did settle for $80,000. The other two settlements are for $90,000 and $30,000. What I can tell you is with regard to outside legal fees, and I was amazed when I saw it, and settlements from 22 to 23, the difference was, despite all the inflation that exists in the world, was $250. So as far as those things are concerned, at least from 22 to 23, the supervisors managed our money very well.
But we're still getting sued, and we still have to settle.
That's
46, 47, 48.
That is irregular. We can't tell people not to.
46, 47, 48. This is kind of my 3 minutes, as you like to tell people when it's in your time. 46, 47, 48. I appreciate the fact that East Meadow is getting their water issues resolved, but we have a PFOA problem that is proliferating throughout the town of Hempstead. So what about what's going on in the other districts? Like Uniondale has a leaky water tower. Who's responsible for that? Thank you. I'm done.
Always a pleasure, Ms. Meredith. I don't have any other slips on the administrative calendar. Ms. Meredith, thank you. I don't have any other slips on the administrative calendar. Does anybody else wish to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion on the administrative calendar? Chris, I think you're moving the administrative calendar.
I move the administrative calendar.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, now we're going to recall item number 10, but we're going to take a 2-minute recess. Is that correct, Town Attorney?
That is correct, Supervisor.
Because you asked pretty please, right? All right, so we're going to take a 2-minute recess, and then we'll recall item number 10.
Do you want to see us inside? Do you want to see the room?
No, I think that we just want to set the judgment.
She was good.
That's why I didn't know.
So, do you want me to stand here? Anywhere you want me to be?
Isn't that where you were last time? You need to have something.
Well, it would be nice to have a podium, but if we don't have
Yes. He can put.
right here. Right around here. It's over. Well, I think the wait, right over here. Facing, I think, the town board. Yeah, microphone, right?
Madam Clerk? So, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Kate, Madam Clerk? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start up the meeting with a continuation on item number 10. Madam Clerk, can I recommend, and you will tell me if I'm wrong, that we read the item again?
I will reread it. I think that's a great suggestion.
Thank you, Rob.
It is a reopening and continuation of public hearing pursuant to New York eminent domain procedure law, Article 2, regarding 434 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead.
Mr. Town Attorney, or you want to introduce our esteemed colleague?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. This time I would like to introduce the former administrative judge of Nassau County, the Honorable Anthony Morano, who's been appointed by this town board as hearing officer for this hearing.
Okay. Judge Morano, I would thank you for joining us, and the only thing I will ask is if you hit your mic on, because I know if you're speaking, it's lit up, it's green, that's all. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening, everyone. I'd like to follow the supervisor's example by trying to move things along appropriately but expeditiously. And to that extent, the process tonight is going to be as follows. This is with regard to the condemnation proceeding at hand. And we're going to begin the process with a presentation from special counsel. Special counsel is Sir Tillman Ballin, Adler, and Hyman. Alan Hyman from that firm is going to actually make the presentation. At the end of his presentation, I'm going to ask the owner of the property, that's 434 Hempstead Turnpike, the owner of the property or his counsel, if they'd like to make a comment or a presentation. And following that, we'll offer the public an opportunity to comment as well. So we're going to begin now with the presentation from Alan Hyman, special counsel. Mr. Hyman.
Good evening, Mr. Hyman.
Good evening. Thank you, Judge Morano. Mr. Supervisor and members of the board, I'm Alan Hyman. Sir Tillman Ballin, Adler, and Hyman is my law firm. And I'm special counsel to the town in connection with this public hearing. So before I start my presentation, I would like to point out that I have made a booklet, a notebook, and supplied it to every member of the board. And what that booklet contains is a supplement to the booklet and the record that was made at the January 30th public hearing. So if you open the booklet to the first page, you will see that in the table of contents that this hearing was authorized pursuant to a resolution of the town board that was adopted on March 12th, 2024, which provided for the reopening of the public hearing that was held before this board on January 30th. What's also contained in the packet is and are the notice of public hearing that was given pursuant to the eminent domain procedure law for tonight's hearing. You will also find affidavits of service of the notice of the public hearing on the property owner, who is the owner of the property that is the subject of this hearing at 434 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, New York, which is known as the Capri Motor Inn. There are also copies of certified return receipts, affidavits of publication from Newsday, and Newsday's proof of publication for the public hearing this evening. Included in the packet are the minutes of the public meeting that was held on January 30th, which I've incorporated herein by reference. There is also a report prepared by Nelson and Pope, which is a report on the public purpose, which you will hear from John Ellsworth as soon as I'm finished. There's also an environmental assessment form, which was prepared also by Nelson and Pope, and the environmental assessment form was prepared for the purpose of indicating the effect on the environment that this project will have. And I've also included one letter that we received in opposition to the public hearing, which I thought it was appropriate to include in the record. And this letter that I received, and I just received it today, was a letter that came from the attorney representing the property owner in this case, but it's included in the packet. So the hearing tonight references property that is commonly known as 434 Hempstead Turnpike, as I mentioned, in West Hempstead, New York. It consists of a motel property that has been, that was the subject also of the January 30th hearing. And the position that that Nelson and Pope has taken, and you'll hear from John Ellsworth in a minute, is that the operation of this motel consists of a public nuisance, that it has been for the last several years a place of high crime. There were numerous arrests that have taken place at this location. The property has become so, well, it was so crime-ridden that people in the neighborhood were afraid, literally afraid, to walk out on Hempstead Turnpike in the evening because they were afraid of being accosted by people who were frequenting the motel. There were numerous drug arrests. There was an attempted murder at the hotel. People were being involved in terrible crimes. So one of the things that you will hear tonight is one of the grounds for eminent domain in this case, which is that the board has the power to determine that this was a public nuisance, and the remediation of that nuisance is a public use under the eminent domain procedure law, and it's one of the grounds for the exercise of the power of eminent domain. Another issue in this case is what would the public use be for this property if it were condemned? And the public use for this property is going to be, if the condemnation goes forward, the public use would be for an indoor recreational facility, which will be a very important public use for the neighbors and for other residents of the town of Hempstead. And you will hear John Ellsworth discuss that in greater detail. So that is what the subject of tonight's hearing is, and Mr. Ellsworth will be discussing the public use, the public purpose, and the impact that this project will have on the environment. And so at this point, I would like to call upon John Ellsworth from Nelson and Pope. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, member of the board. I'm John Ellsworth from Nelson, Pope, and Voorhees, 70 Access Road in Melville. I testified before this board on January 30th of this year. At that prior session, my testimony focused on the public purpose and benefit that would be served by the proposed land acquisition via eminent domain in terms of abating a public nuisance, as Mr. Hyman spoke to just previously. Today, I will expand upon that previous testimony by discussing the intended public use of the site. This information is discussed in detail in the revised report we prepared, dated April 4th, 2024, and that was included in the booklet that Mr. Hyman assembled. It includes our earlier observations about the abatement of the public nuisance, analysis and conclusions regarding the public purpose and benefit that would result from the abatement of the public nuisance. Our report should be consulted in for the full details of the investigation and analysis supporting our findings and conclusions. What I'm presenting here tonight is just a summary. Our investigation included, but was not limited to, there was a report by Cash & Associates in August of 2023 on, it was titled Emergency Survey Report per Chapter 90 of the Town Code, review of the transcript of public hearing conducted by this board in August and September of 2023 regarding the subject property, information regarding existing town recreational facilities on the town website, exterior visual inspection of the site and surrounding area in December of 2023 and March of this year, and review of a sketch plan that was prepared by Nelson and Pope depicting a potential conceptual redevelopment layout for the subject property consistent with the intended indoor recreational use of the site. Now I'm just going to briefly summarize what was presented at the prior hearing before I get into a little more detail on the intended public use of the property. So up on the screen is an aerial photo of the site. It shows the property fronting on Hempstead Turnpike, and the surrounding uses are commercial. The site's a little over an acre in size. It's almost completely paved. There were 3 buildings which had operated as a motel with approximately 80 resident rooms. Existing conditions regarding the on-site interior are described in the Cash & Associates report from August of 2023, and it documents numerous hazardous, unsafe, and/or unsanitary conditions supporting the conclusion that the buildings are in violation of Chapter 90 of the Town Code. These findings were the basis of the motel being closed for a period of up to 1 year pursuant to the dangerous buildings provisions of Chapter 90 of the Town Code. Regarding existing conditions in the surrounding area, Next slide, please. This is a land use map. The circle is a 1/2 mile radius around the site. Key feature and this was shown in the last hearing in January. A key feature evident from this map is the preponderance of yellow within a 1/2 mile radius of the site, which indicates residential use. Like the majority of the town of Hempstead, the area around this property primarily is a residential community, with commercial and other uses supporting the residential community. And those are represented by the red and blue colors on the map. Again, this is a summary of the previous testimony. Existing conditions regarding the site use and activities. Disinformation was based on documents that have been compiled into the record in connection with the prior proceedings, the hearings that were previously conducted by this board to close the motel down. As detailed in our report, with direct citations from testimony at the hearings, those hearings were in August and September of 2023, and related correspondence submitted into the record prior to the closure of the motel in August of 2023, residents in the vicinity experienced significant adverse impacts to their community character and quality of life due to persistent illegal and antisocial behavior associated with the motel. This included criminal activity, as Mr. Hyman just spoke to, and this is based on anecdotal statements from the residents along with Nassau County Police Department records, as well as other incidents that are antithetical to civil society, such as vagrancy, panhandling, and other aggressive behavior by people associated with the motel. The Nassau County Police Department records include a 26-page spreadsheet listing individual incidents which prompted a police response to the subject property over a 2-year period. These incidents included criminal possession of a controlled substance, assault, weapon possession, homicide, prostitution, attempted murder, criminal mischief, criminal contempt, larceny, burglary, disorderly conduct, harassment, domestic incident, possession of a forged instrument, and unlawful surveillance. That's just over that, and there were multiple incidents of some of these crimes over a 2-year period. As discussed in my prior testimony, statements on behalf of the owner-operator of the motel downplayed the severity of the problems that this facility has wreaked on the neighboring residents. And the attitude expressed in this statement do not suggest that there is a reasonable prospect that the motel, if reopened, would become a good neighbor, which enriches the community character and advances the quality of life for the community. The proposed acquisition by eminent domain represents the logical next step by the town to ensure that the egregious conditions and circumstances which served as a basis for the nuisance determination and temporary closure of the motel are permanently and irrevocably terminated. This action is consistent with the town's comprehensive plan as embodied in the town code. Now I'm going to present the additional information that was incorporated into the revised report regarding the intended public use for indoor recreation. Next slide, please. The intention, if the town proceeds with the acquisition of this property by condemnation, is to demolish the existing structures and redevelop the site for indoor public recreation. To visualize what this might entail, a conceptual sketch plan was prepared in consideration of the size and shape of the parcel, along with the need for on-site parking. The engineering analysis that was conducted by Nelson and Pope revealed that a building of about 18,500 square feet could be accommodated with about 50 parking spaces. It's important to recognize that this is a sketch plan illustrating a concept for the reasonable future development of the site with indoor recreation, and it's not an actual proposal at this time. Further review and evaluation by the town are necessary before a final concept is selected for detailed design and construction. The conceptual building in the sketch plan has been sized to provide a maximum degree of flexibility to accommodate a range of activities. And potentially it could include, but this, again, this is not a proposal, it's just we're looking at a concept to illustrate what could occur if the town acquires the property, such as basketball, volleyball, indoor soccer, and things like that, in a multiple use setting, thereby allowing it to serve the recreational needs of the widest cross-section of the local population, while also retaining sufficient exterior area to accommodate on-site parking. Next slide, please. As part of our analysis, which is presented in the revised report, our April report, we also examined information on the town website regarding town park facilities within a radius of about 3 miles from the subject property. Although the town has a vast inventory of recreational assets to serve its residents, there generally is a primary focus on outdoor recreation, with available indoor recreation facilities mainly geared towards swimming and diving. As indicated in our report, 2 of the 4 town parks within 1 mile of the site are in special park districts. That's Garden City South Park and Roth Park Pool in Franklin Square. These facilities are not available to the residents of West Hempstead who do not reside in the districts. And although the other 2 parks in this area, again within a mile radius of the site, Cherry Valley Ball Field and Echo Park, are available to the general town population, including the residents of West Hempstead. They are focused on outdoor recreation, and swimming and diving is common throughout the town. It's further noticed that a large portion of the area around the subject property, particularly to the north and east, and you can see that by the blue dots are town park facilities. So, and the small circle is a half-mile radius, and the big circle is the 3-mile radius. To the north and east, there are no town park facilities because that's in the villages of Hempstead and Garden City. A supplemental analysis shows, beyond the immediate public benefit of the town's acquisition of the subject property for the purpose of eliminating a public nuisance, the intended redevelopment of the site will provide a public use which allows the town to expand recreational opportunities for its residents, particularly those living in West Hempstead and adjacent areas. More specifically, the intended use will, A, expand the overall inventory of public recreation facilities, B, expand the geographic distribution of facilities that are not governed by park district restrictions and are available to West Hempstead residents, and C, expand the types of recreational opportunities that are offered, specifically with respect to providing multiple use indoor recreation, to expand upon an existing town park inventory which is focused on outdoor recreation and where indoor recreation is mainly geared towards swimming and diving. As an additional note regarding the public use and benefit envisioned by the town, the pedestrian catchment area for parks and other public uses is commonly defined as a quarter to a half mile, or a 5 to 10 minute walk for the average person. This area around the subject property, and again, that's the small circle, is mostly comprised of residential neighborhoods. Therefore, a town park established at the subject property would be expected to enjoy significant pedestrian traffic. Now the conclusions of our report. In summary, the proposed action involving the town's acquisition of the subject property containing the Capri Motel by eminent domain and the intended redevelopment of this parcel for indoor public recreation will serve a public use and purpose and result in a public benefit as follows. First, the record indicates that the record includes personal testimony and written submissions from the local community, Nassau County Police Department, and others, which provides an extensive and compelling narrative of the adverse community impacts that have resulted from the operation of the motel, including a steady stream of serious criminal activity and other behavior that is antithetical to civil society. 2, the problems associated with the behavior of many motel residents have adversely impacted other law-abiding residents of the motel. Third, the problems associated with the motel have infiltrated into the surrounding area, which has deprived residents of the outstanding community character and high quality of life enjoyed by other areas of the town that are not similarly burdened by a deleterious land use like the motel. Fourth, the proposed action will have the public benefit of advancing the provisions of the town code, which represent the comprehensive plan of the town of Hempstead, by protecting the public health, safety, and general welfare of its citizens. Fifth, the proposed action will have the public benefit of precluding reactivation of the motel, thereby permanently eliminating the potential recurrence of conditions that are unsuitable for human habitation by on-site residents. 6, due to the absence of evidence that a reopened motel would be transformed into a good neighbor by recognizing the well-documented problems of the past, the proposed action will have the benefit of avoiding reliance on an uncooperative and/or ineffectual owner-operator to address these problems in a manner that creates and maintains a wholesome setting that is conducive to the health, safety, and welfare of community residents, both on the site and the surrounding area. 7, the proposed action will have the public benefit of precluding reactivation of the motel, thereby permanently eliminating recurrence of problems of the past and enhancing the local community character and quality of life, which was severely and adversely affected by the prior operation of the motel. 8, the proposed action will serve a public purpose and use by providing a new recreational facility constructed for the benefit of town residents after the town acquires the subject property by eminent domain. 9, the intended public use of the subject property will serve the public purpose and benefit by providing for a more diverse recreational experience for town residents, incorporating new opportunities for indoor recreation into the current inventory of town parks, which generally is primarily focused on outdoor recreation. 10, the residents of West Hempstead are expected to realize a singular benefit from the development of the new park facility for their use under the proposed action, since existing park access in this area of the town is somewhat limited because of residency restrictions applying to park districts in the adjacent communities, including the unincorporated hamlets of Garden City and Franklin Square, to the immediate west and northwest, and the incorporated villages of Garden City and Hempstead to the north and east. And 11, the subject property is located within an area that is primarily residential, which will allow for convenient pedestrian access to the recreational facility that is contemplated for the site, thereby benefiting residents in the surrounding area who may not have access to a vehicle or who may wish to walk to the site. Mr. Hyman also mentioned that we completed an environmental assessment form to review the proposal under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. It's a 3-part form. Part 1 is a 13-page form that provides information regarding the subject property and proposed action to assist the town in determining whether there is a potential for significant adverse environmental impacts. Based on the information contained in the EAF and in our report on public use, purpose, and benefit, We also completed the analysis examining the full range of environmental parameters under seeker, as summarized in a memorandum that we prepared as an attachment to the EAF environmental assessment form. The pending action by the town entailing transfer of the land title for the subject property from the current owner to the town by eminent domain does not involve any physical alteration of the site and therefore will not result in any direct environmental impact, positive or negative. However, the intended future use of the site for indoor public recreation also has to be reviewed under seeker's requirement that the whole action must be analyzed. As indicated in the documents we completed, for some of the environmental parameters, the proposed action will have a long-term benefit, particularly in terms of enhanced community character and consistency with local plans, that is the town codes, as discussed in our report. Because the contemplated indoor recreation facility is relatively small, and given that the subject property currently is developed with a fairly intense land use, the 80-room motel, there are no environmental parameters for which the proposed action entails the potential for significant environmental impacts, which forms the technical basis for the issuance of a negative declaration under seeker of the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Judge?
Mr. Hyman, does that complete your presentation? Yes, it does, Your Honor. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here in behalf of the owner of this property? Yes. Would you like to be heard? Yes, please. Please step forward. Before you begin, tell us who you are.
Sure. Mark Lucarelli, Luccarelli, from McLaughlin and Stern. I'm one of the attorneys on behalf of L&S Realty. Good evening to the board. Good evening, everyone. First, I just wanted to make sure that the members of the board received a letter. I believe that letter was referenced by Mr. Hyman. It's a letter from Jeff Schreiber, another counsel to L&S Realty. I wanted to just ensure that the board received that and that it will become part of the record.
Please go on.
Okay. In addition to that, and again, I'll be brief, I do understand that at the previous hearing on this issue, other counsel for L&S Realty already made arguments that they believe this procedure is improper. I don't want to rehash those arguments today. I understand that now there is a public purpose being proposed in the form of an indoor recreational facility of some kind, and I understand that at the original hearing, there was no such public purpose, so obviously that is a change between the two hearings. One general objection I did want to raise as to the two previous speakers was just the characterization that my client had committed any sorts of violation of, for example, Town Code Section 90. As the board may or may not be aware, my client was charged criminally with violations of Town Code Section 90, as well as the nuisance law that you have all been discussing. And last week, all of those charges, I believe it amounted to 24 criminal charges, were dismissed with prejudice. There are no criminal charges pending before my client. I have the decision from the district court judge. If any of you would like to see that, I have copies for the members of the board. But I just want to clarify that for the record. As to any statements regarding my client having violated any sections of the town code, my client is innocent of any violations of that town code, as demonstrated by the district court judge's order. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. Judge,
Is there anyone present? Excuse me.
Judge, I was going to say, I know I have the sign in that I see a resident has signed in to speak on this matter. Just so you know, I don't know if you have in front of you, Felix Procacci. Good evening, sir. If you give your name and address for the record.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. I've asked this question at the first meeting last year. How many meetings were held with the owner by town officials? Because, the council there, was pretty harsh with that owner. Did anyone ever meet with him, elected, non-elected, building department people? Did anyone ever meet with the owner of the Capri Motel? Can you stop my clock, please?
I'm sorry,
No?
are you expecting,
An answer. Oh, you're not going to answer questions here? Because we weren't presented with the books. The public should have gotten the books. I
sir,
mentioned this
sir,
to you.
sir?
Yes.
If you ask a question.
Yeah.
And you expect an answer, just be patient.
Sure.
You know, there's no reason to raise your voice.
Sure.
We'd like to hear what your comments are. So if your question was, have there been meetings between the town and the property owner? Is that your question?
Yes.
I don't have specific information with regard to everything that has happened, but I do know personally that meetings have taken place. At least a meeting has taken place.
Okay. Did the town issue any Chapter 90 tickets and have administrative hearings at Town Hall regarding the Capri Motel? Because they mentioned Chapter 90 in the record, which I wasn't provided. I had to foil it after the January 30th meeting, and I wasn't presented with the one that you guys got today. So were any Chapter 90 administrative hearings held regarding the Capri Motel?
I'm going to ask the town attorney to respond to that if he can.
Sure.
The town board, in fact, had a hearing with regard to the Capri Motel, and a decision was rendered by the town board closing the hotel. There have since been subsequent decisions in Supreme Court. It hasn't been completed yet, but all of those decisions to date have been favorable with regard to any action that the town board has taken.
But the Chapter 90 hearings, I've been here a long time. Usually they come before the board. They're going to demolish a house, and maybe a bank says, "Why not? We will work it out." I don't recall that ever happening here. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay.
In this instance, a public hearing was held with regard to whether or not the hotel was a public nuisance, which the town board determined it was.
I didn't ask that question. It's Chapter 90 I'm asking about. Was Chapter 90 administrative hearings held?
That specific hearing was not held.
Okay, because the reason why I asked that is because when I did get the book, it mentions Chapter 90 many times in the Nelson reports and everything else. Yet, when I foiled the tickets, I foiled them back on March 25th. I didn't get any response from the town, and the attorneys for the town are mentioning Chapter 90 left and right, but they're not presenting any tickets in the book. You know, the evidence, if you're going to say that there's violations, then it would be nice, since you want to convince people that you're right, to provide those tickets that you issued.
Mr. Kachi, with all due respect, this hearing has nothing to do with those tickets. The town has decided that they have a public purpose, and that public purpose is to, in fact, have a recreational facility. So we're condemning the property. Whether or not summonses were issued or not has no bearing specifically on the impact. It could in the future with regard to any litigation, but quite frankly, the town has a public purpose. That public purpose is a recreational facility, and the town intends to condemn the property with the town board's approval, and I don't want to speak for the town board, but that's the purpose of this hearing, not any tickets that were issued.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're making a record. You're using that record to make your case for eminent domain. If the record is incorrect, because there were no Chapter 90 tickets issued, but you're saying Chapter 90 tickets are issued, you're making false statements to an official record.
Most respectfully, I would disagree with you.
Well, you just contradicted yourself, because you said there were no tickets, but now but the record says there are tickets.
Sir,
There's a
if
contradiction.
you want to ask a question, ask a question.
Well, I'm commenting on what the town attorney said, which is inaccurate.
I would disagree with you.
Yeah, you disagree with me, but you're disagreeing with yourself.
I never said that there were any summonses, that whether or not summonses were issued. What I said is the basis of this hearing has nothing to do with those summonses specifically. You'd like them to be,
No.
but that's not the case.
No, I'm disagreeing with you, because if the Chapter 90 tickets have nothing to do with it, why are they in the record for this hearing? Why do you put them in here? If they don't have no bearing on it, why do you bring it up?
Most respectfully, Mr. Hyman, as well as Mr. Ellsworth indicated that this building was declared a public nuisance. So any violations or conditions are at the property most definitely have a bearing on this hearing.
Why did you change the reason for the use, which did the hearing last time? You said the use was a boarded up motel. Now you reopening it and you're changing the use to an indoor. Why'd you do that change? You had a legitimate purpose and now you're changing it to another purpose. Why?
There was a huge, I can't speak for the town board, but there was a huge outcry from people. Hundreds of people came, whether it be on Facebook or here to comment. And among the things that they talked about were public uses, and the town board, based upon those discussions, decided that this would be appropriate. And if you believe Mr. Ellsworth's report, this would most definitely be a beautiful addition to the town's parks. When you look at Mr. Ellsworth's report, you see very few indoor facilities. So it's an excellent place for it. Quite frankly, I think the town board's making a wise decision if they intend to do that.
Okay, one more question. Will this be a part of a special district or this will be open to every town resident?
I think that'll be determined in the future, but I think the goal is, based on where it is, to be open to every town resident.
Because when they wanted to do eminent domain with the Woodmere Club, they said it was too much money and then the people opposed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bacacci. I don't have any other slips in front of me. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this item that did not sign in? Okay, Your Honor.
Okay, then, that concludes the public aspect of this evening. And at this point, I'm going to, in effect, Mr. Supervisor, make four separate recommendations to the board. One, I would ask you to keep the record open until May 9th, 2024, in order to allow the public additional time to submit comments with respect to this matter. Number two, I would ask you to allow me as a hearing officer until May 12th to prepare recommendations to this board on the use of eminent domain to acquire this parcel. And after reviewing all of tonight's evidence as well as any additional comments which may be received up until May 9th of this year. Third, I'd ask the board to make and publish its determination and findings concerning the proposed public project for this property on or before May 29th of this year in accordance with eminent domain procedure law. Lastly, number four, I suggest that a copy of the record of these proceedings should be kept on file in the office of the county attorney of the town, as well as the town attorney's website and the town's website, and the office of the Nassau County Clerk at 240 Old Country Road in Mineola. That's also in accordance with the eminent domain procedure law, section 203. And that would conclude my comments for this evening.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for holding tonight's meeting.
Supervisor,
Yes, sir.
as an additional place to have the documents viewed, I would ask that the town clerk's office also be included in that list.
Madam Clerk, is that amendable? Absolutely. Thank you, as always, Madam Clerk. So thank you again, Your Honor, and thank you, Mr. Hyman, and thank you, our engineers as well. With that, I guess I will now ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second motion.
Would it be to continue?
Madam Clerk, maybe we could just help, so we have it formally on there, that it's a continuation of this meeting would be again on 5/29, but we're going to leave the period open, Your Honor, as Judge Morano said. We're going to let the residents know they'll have until 5/9/2024 to submit any additional comments on this and follow the judge's recommendation. So with that, I make a motion, and Tommy will make a motion to adjourn this hearing?
So moved.
Or
motion to adjourn this hearing.
Yep.
Second.
All right. Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Creany.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
And again, I want to thank our attorneys, our engineers, and of course, the judge for conducting tonight's hearing. We are very appreciative of your professionalism in this matter, and I know the residents enjoyed interacting with you, and particularly Judge Morano. I want you to know that personally. All right, so thank you all very, very much. And with that, I will now make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
All right, now that the formal portion of the meeting is over, we will now stay to listen to comments of residents. I have a few people that signed in. I'll start off with Joshua Soren. Hi, good evening. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
My name is Joshua Soren, 34 Return Lane, Levittown, New York. My spouse passed away just a little over a couple months ago and is buried in Greenfield Cemetery. I find it's hard to make it to 5 o'clock when the cemetery closes. And it's not fair to other people who work 9 to 5 who can't visit their loved one's gravesite in Greenfield Cemetery. So what I am asking to consider with daylight savings time only to extend it to 6 p.m. I've put together a quick petition very quickly and immediately got great response from it, about just extending it by 1 hour with daylight savings time being, further on. So it's just so difficult to make it I've been locked in the cemetery. I've climbed the gate twice to get in, but I have to visit the gravesite every single day.
I understand that, Mr. Soren, and I know that the deputy supervisor takes a lot of pride in that cemetery in particular. We have an individual down there who's managed it. Of course, we'll take any comments under consideration. But right now it closes at 5 o'clock. And did you want to add something, deputy supervisor?
I'd like to say the people that live in this area and with the people that we have, the ambulances and so forth, and that all that come and take, it's the best time for them. We have to bring them in the morning. They come in early because it's a hard job, and it's less. We paid less money there than any other cemetery, and that's what the people can afford. So that's why we have it that manner. We do that yes, we do. I'm sorry, Sarah, but I know that you've been there and you have complained, and they've tried to accommodate you as much as they possibly can.
I have also talked to public safety officers locking the gates, and they also thought this was a very good suggestion, those that I spoke to just extend it by 1 hour during daylight savings time.
Okay. Well, we appreciate Mr. Soren, and we'll consider that, but we appreciate it, and I'm sorry again for your loss, and for the team down there that does a phenomenal job. We're very, very blessed that we can have a cemetery like that. I think we're the only township in New York State that has that, and they do a great job down there, and they make it affordable for a lot of people who lose loved ones along the way. So, but we appreciate it, and we'll take it into consideration.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I have Regina. It says Regina Kelly, but the name's cut off, so I apologize. Sure, if you can come up to the back mic and give your name and address for the record, thank you. Hey, doing? Just your name and address. Thank you again.
Regina Datner, Kelly Datner. We're from Wantor. Both Kelly and I were volunteers at the animal shelter for 9 years, Mr. Clavin. I think you know that already. A few others up there know that already. After COVID and all, we went to go back to sign up again to volunteer in October. We went to orientation. We went to part one, I guess they call it, of to walk around there and show us how to take a dog out, which after 9 years, you don't forget how to get a dog out of a kennel. We haven't heard from Ashley. We haven't heard from Charlie. And both my daughter and I feel we've been discriminated against with them. We'd like you to know about this because we're anxious to get back, because clearly on their page, it shows they're looking for volunteers. And I would like some kind of help from you and the town attorney. I couldn't finish the walking around that day because they took us on the trail in the back where the roots are all over the place and it's dangerous. I asked Ashley if she can meet me so we can take a look back there. No response. I haven't heard from anybody. This was October. We're now in April. What?
Okay, all right.
And we'd also like to know who the volunteer coordinator is. You also have a volunteer there named Hillary Flanagan, who's walking around telling your workers what to do, Mr. Clavin, and that's absolutely wrong. I saw it that day I was there. The staff was not happy at all with her. She pushed a supervisor who the dog was supposed to go out the back of the kennel into the front of the kennel with us standing there, and pushed him to say yes to it. I think that's a dangerous situation. I know it's a thorn in your side, Mr. Clavin, but there's a lot more you have to look into there. I would appreciate what you could do for Kelly and myself and get us back there to volunteer again.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't want to be discriminated, and neither does Kelly again. And we enjoy the dogs. I've done it 9 years there. Not 1, not 2, 9.
Okay, thank you very much. Good.
Okay, I just have to ask you another thing. The dogs that went down to Florida, one of the dogs was a dog I walked named Wally. I want to cry because they should not be putting any prong collars or any shock collars on him. I don't know the other dogs too well. I didn't walk them, but
Thank you so much, and I do want to let you know that I know that some people like to misrepresent things or things that are taking place, but I've just seen recently some wonderful footage of those animals that was saved by the rescue down there without any shock collars on them. So anybody who goes around and tells you that they have shock collars on and all this other treatment, they might be misinforming you. They might have an agenda, which is unfortunate. But like I said, I know myself and the town board members, we've seen some wonderful videos posted of these animals actually enjoying their lives, actually being out of cages, actually interacting with people in the public.
Did you?
You've had your time, and I just want to let you know.
I just want to know.
I just want to let you know. When somebody can take one image and then misrepresent it incredibly, and I don't know why, but I will tell you, what I've seen on actual videos and actually seen taking place, to me, brings me joy. That an animal isn't sitting in a cage year or day after day. And that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah,
what I've seen is just wonderful results of what has transpired in that. And they've given excuse the pun, a leash on life to these wonderful pets that are enjoying it. And they are. And that's what I'm saying to you. There's more out there than just one photo that somebody might have sent to you. There's a lot more, and you should take a look at it. But I appreciate it, and I'll ask John McEnroe to follow up on the other issue.
Okay, because I don't mind meeting with him.
Gotcha.
Yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Next, I have James Milligan. Okay. Anthony Pescarella. Charles Barkley. Relax, everybody. It's not that Charles Barkley. Okay, all right. Next, I have Diane Madden. Good evening. Your name and address for the record.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. So could you please elaborate, Supervisor Clavin, on which rescue does not use shock collars?
Ms. Madden, you've been coming here for quite a long time. You know this is your opportunity to be heard.
Well, you had a tremendous conversation just now defending shock collars and prong collars. Are you specifically speaking on the Florida rescue?
Ms. Madden, please. You know this is your opportunity to.
Well, you made a lot of allegations that.
No, nobody made an allegation
I'd
at all.
like to know who's misrepresenting. You be specific. I mean, be more transparent tonight than you were with the answering questions of how much money you used of taxpayer money to ship these dogs out. You act like this is a victory lap. It's a total embarrassment. You have a $6.2 million animal shelter. It should be the epicenter of training, of education, of professionals. But instead, you have to get rid of the evidence. This is something Laura Gillen did, and the board, in 2019, April, she tried to pass a resolution to use taxpayer money to ship dogs out so she wouldn't have to admit to the fact that there were major issues on a foundational level, that the shelter was unable, they did not have the professionals they needed, they did not have an expansive foster care program to train those foster care providers. So instead, you send out dogs, you basically migrated them out of New York State, and now you're pretending that something has changed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that changed is at least Laura Gillen put a cap on the money that was spent when she tried to pass it. But the board at that time, no disrespect to this board, because I think in a lot of areas you do a wonderful job, but they stopped it. And in this case, on August 1st, you passed it to use an unlimited amount of money to send these animals to unregulated rescues. And it's very easy to look at a couple of pictures, talk about misrepresenting. That's what you are doing, Supervisor, because you don't know where these dogs are being housed 23 hours a day. You're denying that they're in shock collars when under every one of those bandanas, you see the shock collars. How dare you? And just to think, I had an open door, and maybe I still do, to getting that shelter looked at closely, fiscally and operationally. After all, the lawsuit was won for New York State to look at that shelter operationally, and maybe that's what's going to happen, because this is just a dog and pony show, and you are the head of it at this point, and that's a disgrace. And as far as the town attorney, you know what's really sad? This isn't just a legal issue. I know you spent a lot of time figuring the legal part. This is a moral issue. Find your moral compass.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mann. Always a pleasure. Next, I have Mita Meriday. Ms. Meriday? Okay. Next, I have Marcia DiTieri. Good evening. If you name and address for the record, thank you.
Marcia DiTieri, Merrick, New York. I wish you'd get the podium back here so we could put our papers down. Tree preservation again. Spring has arrived, and the mild weather has brought wildlife babies into the world much earlier than usual. The shelter and their families need to survive, need to be protected from destruction, more so now when they cannot survive without the trees that give them food and shelter. I am suggesting once again the importance to preserve nature, mature trees for survival of our pollinators, wildlife, and ultimately the human race. Ban removal of mature, healthy trees during these prime times. Require permits if someone requests removal, and have an arborist evaluate and make decisions whether protected or destroyed. Promote on your Around Town newsletter a tree planting program which would promote a healthier environment. Educate constituents on how to keep their trees healthy in a virtual newsletter, including which native trees will flourish. Include children in planting programs, including schoolyard planting. Keep children outside, helping plant and see life flourish. Global warming, earthquakes, lack of watershed, oxygen, and wildlife will only get worse if this township doesn't follow the direction of so many others. Again, I will help in any way to protect our slowly dying environment. I'd also like to bring up, if there's anything in the works at the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter to hire additional staff for animal evaluation, rescue intake, which now takes weeks due to multitasking employees, and promoting local certified and humane rescues, taking in the already traumatized animals. Genevieve, a part-time worker, has been there over 2 years, volunteering in addition to working part-time, and must work a second job for the benefits she's not receiving at the shelter. Please give this dedicated person a full-time position. She helps animals more than anyone I've ever met, fostering, getting involved in rescue, who would otherwise not deal with the politics of the shelter. Gives her heart, soul, blood, sweat, and literally tears at times. helping these sometimes abused, frightened cats and dogs. She always has a smile, has the best attitude, and always has time to hug and compliment everyone. She does the neonatal kitten fostering, works with the hardest animals, and show them that they can trust again. Please ask any of the employees at the shelter. This would be a win-win for all. To say.
Thanks, Ms. DiTieri. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it as always. Next, I'm going to call up Alan Domingo.
And please post the cats for adoption.
Thank you, Ms. DiTieri. Yes, okay. We don't have to scream out loud. Alan Domingo? Okay, thank you. Tate Simmons? Okay, I don't have any other slips. Anybody else wish to be heard? If not, everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you all.